Welcome aboard. Disco here with VMA 131. Thought I'd demonstrate an INS non-precision approach today in the scooter. Gave ourselves some suitably awful weather, and figured we could go ahead and demonstrate some old school navigation.
Chief, turn on the ground power.
Copy. Ground power is now on.
Chief, turn off the ground power.
Copy.
Good light off.
Ground power is now off.
Alright. So it's 48:30. Alright, so while we're waiting for everything to warm up. The objective for today's flight is that we're going to fly the TACAN CV-1 as an INS CV-1. So basically, we're going to set a waypoint in the INS that is going to be our reference instead of the TACAN on the boat. This is useful for situations where the boat couldn't be emitting, so MCON days where for threat reasons the boat's not putting out a lot of energy. So this is the way they used to do it old school. We have currently here the navlog for the boat with its predicted lat-long location at 15-minute hacks for the next hour, basically, just over an hour. And what we're going to do is use the 715 set there. And as soon as the INS completes its warm-up, I'm going to put those coordinates in as our D1 waypoint. We're going to proceed out and demonstrate that you can do a non-precision approach in bad weather on the INS with no TACAN, the way the guys used to do it old school back in the day. It's just another case where the A-4 is just proving out to be a truly exceptional jet. Alright, should be about another minute or so. So as you can hear, a terrible day to do this, but that's the way it works. Alright, so memory check is good. So 2517. And 5336. There we go. Alright. Make sure there's nothing else that we've missed. Alright, I believe we're ready to go. For ground, Rattler 00, Snake Pit, IFR for the Stennis, depart 31 right, taxi via Alpha Juliet. So you might be asking yourself what kind of a fool goes out on weather like this, and the answer, of course, is someone who has to do a job regardless of what's happening in the world around them. Now, clearly, I don't have any risk of life or limb here, but it is something that I think demonstrates again just how well put together the little A-4 is. And specifically, just how good the systems modeling is, particularly with respect to the INS. Okay, so we're going to continue down here to our taxiway Juliet, and then we'll jump out onto the active. We're going to fly this with, I'm going to basically play my own ATC. I'm going to give myself climb at 300 to 5 nautical miles, then a turn northbound to intercept the BRC radial to our waypoint, which will then proceed out assuming that the timing works out, we'll get a one-turn hold in out there, and then we'll proceed down with the INS approach and hopefully terminate in a successful night trap on the boat. Alright, so coming up on the whole short line, we're going to get the spoilers are armed. Radar is active. Ooh, a little crazing in my windscreen, in my canopy there. Alright. So one more quick trip around. Spoilers are armed. Flaps are set. Bugs are set. Radar altimeter is on. Radar's on. Got our coordinates are locked. Okay, I believe we're ready to go. Aldarfer Tower, Rattler 00, holding short 31 right, IFR to the Stennis. Expect northbound after 5 miles. Alright, so we're going to take the active. Ooh, got a lot of cracking in the windshield there. It just kind of shows up under certain lighting conditions. Alright, so power's coming up to 90%. There we go. Looking for stable EGT, fuel flow, and pressure ratio of at least 2. It's good. Full power. Stick full forward. And brake release. Rolling. Airspeed's alive. 100 knots, we'll expect the nose to bury. There we go. 125, we're going to smoothly rotate. Alright, and gears coming up. Landing light off. 175 knots, flaps are coming up. I'm going to basically let it kind of run out on the takeoff trim setting on runway heading. As the speed picks up, we're going to find that that's just perfect. Alright, I'm going to pull back to 98%, so we don't need crazy power to take off here. Okay, there's 300 knots. Going to kind of hold that. There's 3 miles. Let that hold for us. There's 4 miles. Alright, and at 5 miles, we're going to begin our turn to the right. There we go, coming right, 300. In the thick of the clouds. 7,000 for 15. Coming out of the tops, looks like they're a little over 8,000. Okay. And there's our northbound heading. Aldarfer Tower, Rattler 00 is clear. 8 miles to the north. Northbound IFR to the Stennis. We'll see you. Alright, so now we're going to switch up to the nav computer. We can see we're 72-ish miles from our target. We want to get the which we're going to go down to nav pack because that'll take the drift pointer out of our sight. Alright. So we want the pointer here to come down to 309, is that we've been briefed as the BRC for the boat. And so what we'll do is level off at Angels 15, which is coming right up here. There we go. Flying by ourselves, so a little violent autopilot action's no big deal. Gonna let that go a little bit further, and we're gonna go ahead and accelerate out, get some speed, so that we have a shot at making one complete hold, and still meet our push time of 7:15. You can see we're quickly working up towards 0.72 Mach. We're almost to our desired heading. I'll turn my lights up a little bit so they're more legible. That's close enough. So come left 309. We'll fine tune inbound if we need to. Showing on our way very quickly to 500 knots. So once we're on heading, we'll see what our distance is. We do get beautiful sunsets in the sun. Alright, so it looks like we're going to be about perfect on that heading. I'm satisfied with that. Almost 500 knots. So at 500 knots, we're going to be covering a lot of ground. So better than 8 miles a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and pull back now to 90%. And we'll let that play out how it plays out. And correct a little bit to the north. Beautiful colors. If you've not done the no spud mod, by the way, I highly recommend it. Really radically improves texturing at night. It removes a lot of that nylon hose effect. Alright, so what we want's about 480 knots, which gives us easy math, 6 miles or 8 miles a minute. So looks like it's going to be around 94-95%. So we basically want to get up to 25 miles from our point, and we're going to execute one hold turn. One turn in the hold. And see how that works for us. Boy, the scooter, it really does scoot, that's for sure. Alright. So right now everything looks really good. We're on course. It's showing us, it's tracking directly to our INS waypoint. We've got about 15 miles to go, which at our current speed is 2 minutes. And we are about, what was that, 8.5 minutes from our push time, which basically means we're going to swing in just about perfectly for a single turn around the hole, and then our descent down to our target. Okay. Flashlight. I tell you, the textures and attention to detail in this cockpit are just stunning. Hello, Raquel Welch. Have to have your period correct, hottie. Flashlight. Flashlight. Alright, so we're now 5 miles out. We need to slow down. So, board's out. I'm going to pull the power back to around 84%, which we know from previous flights will give us about 300 knots ground speed once we get stabilized. So there's 340, slowing down nicely. So at 25 miles here in just a second, we're going to initiate a turn to the left. We're going to come back to 129, course at 129. Alright, so boards are in. We're right at 300 knots. And 25 miles, beginning our left-hand turn back to 129. 129. So with the wind, labels, that bodes well. Looks like we're on course. So we basically want to keep ourselves at around 300 knots. And if we do that, it looks like one turn is going to be just about perfect for this. So we have a minute in the turn, and we're halfway through the turn. So we've got about 30 seconds to go in the turn. Once we roll out, we're going to proceed outbound for, I'm guessing about 2 to 2.5 minutes. We'll see what the timing looks like when we roll out, which will be pretty soon. We got about 45 degrees to go. Okay, still coming around, watching our speed. We do not want to creep up. Alright, so here we are, rolling out outbound. We'll call that right at 10 minutes after. So we're going to go 2 minutes. And we'll initiate our turn back in at 7:12. F3. So there's 1 minute outbound, and you can see we've gone 5 miles, back to 30. So that's actually working out pretty well. We're getting the benefit of the wind, which means we have to pay a little more attention to our speed. Okay. So the ground radar is picking up the coastline in front of us. That's really cool. Alright, so 15 seconds, we're going to begin our turn back to the left. We're going to come back around to 309 degrees. Alright, and left to 309. Right, now we're going to have to watch our speed because in the turn we have a tendency to slow down a little bit. Okay, speed's good. We've got a positive lock. We're out over the sea now, so did you leave the flashlight on? Or? Nope, just a little extra light. Okay. Right, we got about 45 degrees to go. Actually, sorry, more like 90 degrees to go. We're about 1 minute. 2 minutes. Okay, so we're going to miss our push time by a little bit. We're going to be within a minute though of our push time. That's not bad. Now, varsity, we'd actually push the speed up and try and make up that time. However, two things a scooter does not do fast. One is speed up, the other one is slow down. So we're going to kind of ride it out, see how it goes. Now, here we are back on course. We're pointing directly at our waypoint. That's perfect. And as I would have expected. Okay, with this throttle setting, we're burning 2,000 pounds an hour, which means we've got about 2 hours and 15 minutes of fuel on board. This flight will probably be over in about 15 minutes. So, alright, so it looks like we're going to be about 30 seconds off. That's not so bad. Running a little bit fast. So 309 indicating straight up, that's good. 30 miles to go, means we're a minute out. So I'm going to be between 30 and 45 seconds late on our push time. Center. That's not too bad, all things considered. Alright, so 25 miles, we're basically going to drop the hook. We'll go power idle, boards full. So we'll pull the red lights up just to make sure we get through all of our checks. It's 26 and 25, 30 seconds late. That's pretty damn good. Alright, so there's power's idle, hook's coming down. Pickle the autopilot. I'm going to set pretty good descent. Back to heading mode. Alright, A-4E-C to standby. And that's all we got to do. So, red lights are going off. You turn those guys down a little bit because we're probably going to be on NVGs under the clouds. So I've also turned the external lights off, which would be normal for recovery to the boat. Oh, board's out. I let myself get fast, so we're closing the distance to the boat quite a bit faster than I wanted. 20 miles out. And if we look at the approach, we want to be at 1,200 feet by a DME 10. So into the top of the clouds. go. Speed's good. Distance is okay. 17 miles coming through 7,000 feet. 65. So 5,000 feet we'll make a platform announcement, and we'll slow our descent rate to about 2,000 feet a minute. Zero platform, 15 miles. Okay, so now we're gonna bring the nose up. We're going to continue down a little over 2,000 feet a minute there. We're going to leave the boards out because we need them out. We'll hold our speed at about 225. Need to come left a little bit. So at this rate, we're going to be early, or late rather, getting to 1,200 feet. Alright, so there's 12 miles, 2,200 feet, 1,000 feet to go. Alright. So 60 ME is when we're going to configure. Alright, so here we are. There's... Oof, it is dark out. So I'm going to let altitude hold, capture that 1,200 feet for us. Alright, and we're looking... I do not have the boat yet. It's alright though, we're a little ways out. Okay, 10 miles, 1,200 feet. Nice and slow, about 150 knots. And I just got the boat. Okay, so we're going to come right a little bit. Night vision. So definitely have the fleet in front of us. Night vision. Alright. Okay, so now distance is the thing that's always going to get us down here. So we should actually have to go a little further than we think in order to get there. Okay, so that's 6 DME to our, whoa, hey now. Okay. 6 DME to our original point. Sure wish the altitude wasn't bouncing so much. Alright, there's 6 DME. Gears coming down, flaps are coming down. Okay. Alright, now switch to goggles. Night vision. Alright, and autopilot's coming off, trimming up. And APC is on. Descending to 600 feet. Nice and easy like. Okay, we're in pretty close. We need to get down a little bit more. There's 500 feet. We're going to hold that 500 feet till we're a little closer to the trailing destroyer. No lower than 400 feet, as we know. Alright. Now then, now we're in where we can see the boat. Continue our descent. Want to be about 400. There we go, a little to the right for lineup. All right. Zero Skyhawk ball 4.0. So right for lineup. Okay, now we have a tendency to be a little flatter in the approach than the bugs do. Got the touchdown zone. Alright. Bracketing. 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 Here we go.